Thank you again for your time here tonight. If you are currently a member of Congress, what would be your thoughts and vote regarding the nomination of Brett Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court?
Okay. I believe that the role of the Senate is not to replay previous elections. Okay. Elections have consequences, and I believe that if someone is elected president, whether it's Barack Obama or Donald Trump or anyone else, they have the right to appoint people to these judgeships. That the role of the Senate is to advise and consent to find out if those people are qualified for that position. I would love us to get back to the days when it is the qualifications of the person, which I'll describe in a little more detail in a second, is the overriding factor and not the party affiliation of the person. If you remember, it was not that long ago when Ginsburg got 95 plus votes in the Senate and Scalia got 95 plus votes in the Senate, even though they could not be further apart on the political spectrum, and even though their views were certainly well known to everybody, because people respected the principle that that Ronald Reagan and Bill Clinton could appoint somebody to it, and they needed to evaluate it. If that happens when I am there, and it surely will. The analysis from my standpoint is, first of all, are they qualified? Okay, I mean, do they have the intellectual capability? Are they thought of by their peers in a way that this is someone who should be a justice of the Supreme Court or at lower levels in any federal court? Second of all, I think you look at their ethics. I mean, I'd like to have people in those positions who, and not that have never made a mistake or said something they wish they hadn't said, but somebody, the pattern of whose life is that ethical behavior is important to them. And third of all, I mean, I've come to believe that that temperament is really important. Most of the interactions that I've had as governor and as mayor with the court system, if I've been unhappy with them, they've had much more to do with the temperament of a judge and the way they approached it and the way they treated people than it was with the actual decisions that were made. So I personally have this feeling that temperament is an important kind of element of that thing. So what I would do is evaluate on that basis, not on the basis of how I thought they were going to vote on some specific issue, which was up in front of us now, and make a decision based on that. I've told people in this election, since we have that going on right now, that I would like to do that. I think I owe the people of Tennessee an answer as to whether I would vote for that man or not. There is no right answer there. Whichever one I give, half of the people who are for me are going to be opposed to the answer. And there's no good answer there. But I think I owe that to them. And it's also important, I just say to you, to remember that in these circumstances, you're not choosing between the you're not choosing between the ideal and what it is you have. You're choosing between who has been put up there and who the next person might be that is put up there is, and so on. I think that's important. That's important as well. But to my mind, in a nutshell, we need to get back to the days where the Senate is passing on the qualifications and the temperament and the ethics of the person, and not simply reacting instantaneously to the party affiliation. That difference has been evident in this campaign. I mean, my opponent, within about 6 hours of his nomination, said, "Well, I'm for him. I guess we don't need hearings, we don't need research, we don't need anything else." And I've just tried to take a much more sort of careful view of this thing, of saying I want to see what he's about, and then I'll make a decision. I'm in that process.
We're going to have to let that be the last question for tonight.